Stand up. Fight back. Stand up. Fight back.
Thank you very much. That was from me with the Common Ground Institute.
I'm here today to honor my grandparents by speaking for the Palestinian people.
Hello, my name is Stanley Heller. Welcome to The Struggle. The Struggle is shown on over 30 cable stations from Vermont to New York City, on the internet at thestruggle.org. We begin in New Haven after the murder of Heather Heyer at one of the hundreds of anti-fascist rallies that took place across the country.
Stand up. Fight back. Stand up. Fight back. Here in New Haven, we have a real strong immigrant rights movement.
Yes. Yes.
And New Haven is the sanctuary city. And we should be damn proud of that. Right now we have, right across the street, or up the street, another block up, at the church, we have the Marcos Reyes, who is seeking sanctuary. We'll be going up there later. I hope everyone will come up there with us. We're going to have a vigil in front of the church. But right now, part of that anti-immigrant or immigrant rights movement is Unidad of Latinos in Action, and they are the main part of it here in New Haven. And let's give a big round of applause to Jesus.
All right. Thank you very much. Okay, so first I would like to start by asking everyone to just keep one moment of silence for Heather Heyer, who passed away yesterday when she was run over by a fascist in Virginia. So, if I may. Thank you. Okay, so as Norman said very kindly, my name is Jesus. I work with Unidad Latina en Acción, and we're a grassroots organization that is focused on immigration rights, labor rights, and basically human rights. I've been following what's been happening in Virginia since Friday night. We heard about it yesterday, you know, the rally, the car, but Friday night is when all started. Hundreds, if not thousands, of white supremacists marched through the city with torches, saying, "You will not replace us." Let's think about it. Who's us? You mean white people? You mean white nationalists? Who knows? There were so many anti-immigrant chants in between. It broke my heart. However, it is very expected. We knew it was coming. We knew it was happening. It's happened before in here. On July 8th, we had a group of these same white nationalists come here. They wanted to rally right here at the green, right at that fountain. We were actually here on these very same grounds, ready to say, not in New Haven, not in our town, not in our city. As all of this unfolded, one name came popping up, Augustus Invictus, who was the main person that was the main speaker here for that event in New Haven. He was one of the main speakers also in Charlottesville. when that rally almost happened, we were faced with this question of, hey, these are alt-right, these are not Nazis, these are not the KKK. Well, I'm here just to say one more thing. Different label, same product. Thank you very much. That was me with the Common Ground Institute. Up next, I would like to introduce a person who has been in the front lines of advocating for racial equality, not only here.
My name is Robbie Goodrich. I run an organization in Waterbury called Radical Advocates for Cross-Cultural Education. I want to talk about white supremacy tonight. Sometimes it's easy to see. We have neo-Nazis dressed up in their costumes, and KKK members, and other times white supremacy is difficult to see. White power, white nationalism, whiteness, white privilege, Eurocentrism, neoliberalism, and the predatory cultures and other institutions that are cloaked by it and fueled by a weaponized myth of white supremacy.
Bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim, which means in the name of God, the most greatest, the most merciful. First, I would like to thank all my brothers and sisters for coming here tonight. We must stand united. We must stand united against hate. This event that happened and will continue to happen, we got to continue to oppress these oppressors. Brothers and sisters, these people are plotting and planning against all of us. The majority of everyone in my community are either discriminated against or go against hate crimes, and we're feeling what the black community is going through for many, many years. We've just been getting a wind of this for the last 15 years. There are folks, many folks in our community that are in fear, that are crying, and when they stand up for themselves, they're considered as terrorists. These white supremacists will continue to come, and actually they're planning in a couple months to have a nationwide rally against Muslims and many others. And we gotta stand up and fight back. And this person, we have to talk truth to power, even if it's the president himself of the United States of America. He won this election on the backs of Muslims, blacks, women, LGBT, and many other groups, immigrants, Hispanics. We need, these are the folks who should be running for office, the people that come here that really care. We really need to start mobilizing and having a plan and start running for office ourselves. Brothers and sisters, we must wake up. I'm gonna end this with peace. Assalamu alaikum. And just one last thing, tomorrow in Waterbury, 6:30 to 7:30, we're gonna be holding a rally similar to this at Library Park. May peace and blessings be upon you. Thank you.
I don't know if you can see this sign behind me here. Mourn for the dead and fight like hell for the living. And let me just start by saying, I love New Haven. Thank you for being here. Thank you for being here, for showing each other, for showing the world that hate and bigotry and discrimination and racism are not welcome here in our city. Dr. King said, "Let us begin." Now let us rededicate ourselves to the long and bitter but beautiful struggle for a new world. And this song starts with Winston Churchill, never, never, never give up. And the guitar is just coming and going, so you're just gonna have to bear with me. And I'm inviting you to please sing along. This is a song of love for our city, and a song of freedom, and a song of resistance. Never give up. Never give in. Never give up. Never give up. Let us begin. Let us begin. Let's try that out nice and loud. Never give up. Never give up. Never give in. Never give in. Never give up. Never give up. Let us begin. Let us begin.
I'm going to be going to court tomorrow morning for being arrested on February 4th, right on that corner over there, for our demonstration for no ban, no wall. We called for that because we've seen what's happening. We've seen what's happening, the attacks on the immigrant community. We've seen the attacks on the Muslim community coming down from the top, coming down from the Trump administration, coming down from the Department of Justice. All of these people that are in power now. And I'll just say this because I talked to Barbara this morning, and she didn't want to be here because she was afraid of the police. Because when she came here the last time, she did nothing and she was arrested and she is injured. She just had to go to the hospital just recently because her wrist will not heal. She was afraid to come here. But she told me people think that the KKK and fascists have all gone away because they're not wearing hoods anymore. No. She said, no, Norman. They're in our courtrooms. They're prosecutors. They're judges. They're law enforcement. No KKK, no fascist USA. 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 Thank you. I'm going to bring up right now, let's see, Gretchen, where are you, Gretchen? This is our dear friend, Gretchen from Planned Parenthood. Anybody interested in helping out defend Planned Parenthood? We are out there every Saturday morning from 8 to 10, every single Saturday morning on Whitney Avenue. We're out there defending Planned Parenthood because there's a bunch of patriarchal white men that are trying to shut down that clinic. We are not going to allow them to do that.
Thank you, Norm. Hi all, my name's Gretchen Raffa, and on behalf of all of us at Planned Parenthood, we are here today to stand with people of color and allies in the face of such appalling attacks fueled by hate yesterday.
And an editorial comment. Fascism isn't hatred. There's always been prejudice and bigotry against outsiders, but fascists don't get organized into something important until the big money wants it. Until they fear some challenge to their power or profits. Then they find some group to blame, to scapegoat. Blacks, Jews, Muslims, immigrants. And then the big money funds the Nazis or Klan or white nationalists, whatever. Pious appeals for tolerance won't cut it. And confrontation with the alt-right, while necessary, isn't nearly enough. The system of corporate unlimited greed has to be undermined and replaced with something that benefits us all. And a footnote. On the Facebook page of the accused killer of Heather Heyer, there, among all kinds of pictures of racist trash, was this picture of Bashar Assad, the tyrant of Syria, with this word undefeated. It was no accident. There's a lot of sympathy among the alt-right for Assad. A fascist recognizes another fascist. Brandon Wall posted this video from Charlottesville the night the fascists held their torchlight parade.
Are you sure? On the street? Of course. Hey, helicopter rides, baby!
Support the Syrian Arab Army.
Hell yeah.
Fucking fight against the globalists.
Assad did nothing wrong, right?
Assad did nothing
Assad's
wrong.
the man,
and replacing
brother.
Gaddafi was a
Assad's
fucking
the
mistake.
man. That's true, that's true. You're absolutely right. And what are we going to do with those commies? I think they're going to go and...
Oh no, we're dropping barrel bombs on those motherfuckers.
Barrel bombs, hell yeah.
Hey,
what happened to your hand?
two chemical bombs would have solved this whole ISIS problem.
That's
but that's
true.
none of my business.
Yay!
Now to a small town in eastern Connecticut, Deep River, where Congressman Joseph Courtney held a town meeting. A number of people criticized him for his sponsorship of the anti-BDS bill and his general attitude towards Palestinians.
My name is Lynn Covell, and I live in Westbrook, Connecticut. I am a member of the Jewish Voice for Peace. I want to thank you for this opportunity to talk about what I see happening in this country. I am so disturbed by the racism and hate that I see really destroying our country and pulling us apart and hating each other. As a child of a Holocaust survivor whose grandparents were murdered 75 years ago this week, I see too many similarities in what happened during Nazi Germany. I also was brought up to respect all people. I am here today to honor my grandparents by speaking for the Palestinian people, who are in occupied areas that Israel is taking away electricity in Gaza this summer they get 2 hours a day. I want to express my strong opposition to the Israel Anti-Boycott Act. This amendment would threaten the First Amendment freedoms and discourage U.S. individuals, businesses, and nonprofits from supporting boycotts for Palestinian rights. The ACLU has strongly opposed this bill as a violation of the First Amendment. Hopefully, the usual blind support for Israel will be overcome with eyes that are open to what this bill would do to our own rights under our Constitution. Thank you.
Thank you.
Congressman Courtney, thank you for giving us this opportunity to speak with you tonight. My name's John Fussell. I'm with the Tree of Life Educational Fund out of Old Lyme, Connecticut. I want to push you on the House Bill 1697, the Israel Anti-Boycott Act. I really think that it's very disappointing that you were a co-sponsor of that legislation, and I would like to see you join Senator Gillibrand in withdrawing your co-sponsorship of that. I understand that we just got news that Representative Adam Smith from Washington State has withdrawn his support for the legislation. The legislation is flawed in many, many ways, and as you point out, it's ambiguous. J.J. Goldberg, an editor-in-chief of the Forward, a large Jewish newspaper, it says it's so ambiguous that a federal judge could easily end up litigating. That a federal judge could end up prosecuting, rather, a college kid wearing an anti-boycott shirt. Now, I know that there's been some analysis of this bill, and there's a view of it that it only deals with commercial speech. But I would point out to you that one of the problems is that in expanding the Export Administration Act, it would prohibit, quote, U.S. persons, unquote, from complying with unsanctioned boycotts imposed by a foreign country. I'm a U.S. person, right? And if it reaches to individuals who may decide to endorse a UN-sanctioned boycott or a boycott sanctioned by the European Union, then we come within the scope of that legislation. It's wrong. It is a real impediment. It's a real attack on our First Amendment rights, and you really ought to withdraw your support for it. There's another very serious problem with the legislation, and that it extends boycott protections to Israel's, or quote, or territories under its control, unquote. Well, the territories under its control are the West Bank and Gaza. Now, we know that founders of the State of Israel have long look forward to the idea of annexing all of the West Bank, right? And this statute, as written, inches our U.S. policy in the direction of supporting that view, because now it would also criminalize boycotts that were extended to the illegal settlements. These settlements are unlawful under international law. And to your point about South Africa, and I was glad to hear you mention that. I was one of the founders of the Connecticut Anti-Apartheid Committee back in 1978, and we worked very hard with the legislature, and we were very, very happy with your support and Bill Curry's support and others' support that we got Bill Dyson's support on that bill. But Archbishop Desmond Tutu from South Africa, he has said that the conditions that they faced in South Africa pale in comparison to what is faced by the Palestinian people today. And I have been to Palestine 4 times. I'm leaving again at the end of this month with a labor delegation to meet with Palestinian trade union leaders. Palestinians. Too many innocent Israelis and too many innocent Palestinians are dying as a result of U.S. policy. We have to stop this being uncritically supportive of the State of Israel. I disagree with you when you say that Netanyahu is different than the State of Israel. Whether it was the Likud party or whether it's the Labor Party, the policies that they are pursuing are consistent. Some more drastic than others, but they're consistent. And that's not going to change until we here in the United States stand up and say, change. And I would ask you again, please, please withdraw your support from that act. Thank you.
BDS is like one of the only ways that Palestinian people can have a voice and can enact change, and the people that are in solidarity with the Palestinian struggle as well. So I've traveled to the West Bank and to Israel twice. I visited Palestinians fighting to keep their land from the encroaching Israeli settlements. I went to the separation wall and met farmers separated from their land and mothers separated from their children. And when I returned to the US, I did all that I could to encourage Israel to make real change in how it relates to the Palestinian people. So amidst petition signings and rallies, I decided to stop buying Sabra hummus as an example of a boycott. And so Sabra hummus is made in a joint venture between PepsiCo and the Strauss Group, which is an Israeli food company that has provided financial support to the Golani and the Givati brigades in the Israeli military, both of which have well-documented incidents of human rights abuses against Palestinians.
And a couple of my remarks speaking for promoting enduring peace.
A couple of years ago, Gideon Levy, who was a top columnist for the Israeli paper Haaretz, spoke in this district, in this area. And he recently wrote an article about what's going on in Gaza with the cut in electricity. Other people have talked about it. And he said it's an experiment to see how much could be done to these people to cut electricity to 2 hours a day. Incredible. I mean, these are not people living in the 17th century. They have a modern life, a modern economy. And for them to be without electricity. It's outrageous. I talked to a woman in the middle of Gaza. I interviewed her, and she says, we can't do anything. You can't wash clothes. You don't know when the electricity is going to come on. Frozen food, forget it. You can't freeze anything on 2 or 3 hours a day. It's an outrage. And you need to speak out about that. Now, we are promoting enduring peace. We gave our Gandhi Peace Award, the first one, to Eleanor Roosevelt. We gave the last one to Omar Barghouti, a Palestinian who basically started the boycott, divestment, and sanctions movement. So I won't belabor that. I will talk about BDS on free speech grounds. I think you should be supporting it. You supported it for South Africa. You should support it for the Palestinians. Please take note, the Jewish community is changing. I'm a member of the Jewish community. JVP is the fastest growing Jewish organization. I went to its conference in Baltimore a couple years ago. 600 people unanimously supported BDS. And now the last conference was 1,000 people. So that should be understood. Last point is Yemen. We are at war against the poorest Arab country in the world. The newest report is 500,000 people this year have cholera in Yemen. 2,000 have died just from the cholera, and over 20,000. This is a war. We refuel the Saudi jets. We sell them the guns. I have not heard you speak out against it, and it is unconscionable. We should not be supporting that war of aggression.
Thank you, sir. Again, thank you all for being here. There's sign-up sheets out there if you want our email address, want to keep the conversation going. We welcome it. And
Note, he made no answer to me at all, not even to my question about why we were engaged in war with the Saudis against Yemen. And that's our program for today. See you next week at this time. I'm Stanley Heller for The Struggle.